thanks for being here in Tucson for Rhythm and Roots. I'm real pleased to have you both here. I'm curious to ask both of you, what was one of the first records that you remember? What was one of the first songs that meant something to you?
Well, my father had a collection of 78s, so I was listening to, I wouldn't say one record, but I was listening to, he had a couple of Leadbellies and Bessie Smith and Jelly Roll Mortons and Big Spiderbecks and Louis Armstrong, so I got the good stuff early.
I had the same deal with my brother's record collection. But there is one tune that got to me first in my heart, and that's Walter Houston singing the September song. I don't know why.
That's a great one.
Whose music are you listening to these days?
Well, a lot of people I listen to are the same people I listened to back in the old days. I mean, I still listen to Jimmy Rogers and Hank Williams and Leadbelly and you name it, the McKinney's Cotton Pickers and Louis Armstrong, and you have hundreds and hundreds of the old-time jazz and country musicians.
The stuff your dad used to have.
Milton Brown's music and his musical brownies, and I mean, it's great musicians from the past. I don't listen to too much modern musicians, but occasionally.
Well, for me, I listen to some old stuff occasionally, and I listen Taref to High Duke. I've been listening to them, the Romanian gypsy group. But I'm listening to Beethoven quartets right now. I'm listening to Pablo Casal's cello suites, the Bach cello suites. I'm listening to Miles Davis.
I got Miles Davis on my iPod too.
So yeah, a lot of what I do is listen to classical music, and when I'm on tour I go to classical concerts.
Your music seems to come from a country that used to be, from the Appalachian ballads to the blues and the string bands of the 20s and 30s. What is it about that music that inspires you?
I think the reason why the music sounds alive and invigorating is because it's alive and invigorating in us. We're not trying to recreate something from the past. We truly love this music. This music is us and we are it. And we play it because we love it, and it's alive in us, so it's when we play it, it's alive. And the musicians that we play with, Jeffrey put this Texas Sheiks band together, some of the best musicians in the world. Yeah. And I mean, Susie Thompson and Cindy Cashdollar and Stephen Bruton and Johnny Nicholas and Bruce Hughes. These are absolutely magnificent musicians. They're unbelievable. And we got together. I came down to that session and it was like being in heaven. I was playing with, it was amazing. Yeah. And the albums, you know, it speaks for itself. You just listen to it and you can tell these are people who not only are great musicians but are having a great time playing with themselves, playing with each other.
If you could meet one musician from the old days, from the medicine shows of the 20s and 30s, who would that be?
Well, that's a tough question.
That is tough. You don't know who's fun to be with, or you know.
I would say if I had to choose right now, I might say something different tomorrow. I'd say Jimmy Rogers.
And I wasn't thinking about Jimmy Rogers. I haven't a clue who would be fun to hang out with. Blind Lemon Jefferson might have been great, you know. I bumped into Louis Armstrong once, but I would have liked to hang with him.
The NPR rock historian Ed Ward cited among the most influential groups of the 60s the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and the Byrds, and the Jim Kweskin Jug Band. Do you have a sense of your influence on contemporary music?
I don't really pay too much attention to it. I do know some of the musicians, like the Grateful Dead, started after having heard one of our first recordings, and I know the Love and Spoonful, John Sebastian was a jug band musician and was influenced by us early on. But now, those people aren't making music now. So, I mean, John Sebastian is, but the Love and Spoonful isn't around anymore, and the Grateful Dead isn't around anymore. So the people nowadays, I don't know if anybody playing music nowadays has even ever heard of the Jim Kweskin Jug Band, tell you the truth.
Well, there is one thing that we did add, and that was the off-the-cuff style on stage. Fritz added those little glasses, you know, that everybody picked up on.
Granny glasses.
The granny glasses, the sort of like we're having a party on stage where it's not set patter.
That's true.
So that whole style, you know, when we started out, everybody was wearing striped shirts and singing Wimaway and stuff.
And doing, telling the same jokes every night, a set patter of jokes every single night.
So I think that's what contributed to the Bay Area stuff, and Jerry Garcia And eventually everybody was just sort of
We
wearing
never knew
street clothes.
We never knew what we were going to do on stage when we got up there. We didn't know what we were going to say. We didn't know what we were going to wear. We didn't know what we were going to do. We did have a repertoire of songs, but we didn't know. We even didn't do those in the same way each night, the same or in the same order. So we were very spontaneous.
Geoff, you recently told the Boston Globe in an interview about an upcoming project of chamber works and also an electric badass album with horns. Tell us about that.
Well, the chamber works I've been working on for quite a while. I've set Tennessee Williams poems to this chamber group. The chamber group is French horn, bassoon, clarinet, cello, and violin. And I've written other things, and I'm going to write more, especially this winter. But also I'm scheming to do an electric chic shock, as we might call it. So with special guest, maybe not Jim Kweskin, but Amos Garrett, or special guest Mac Rebenak, or special guest Howard Johnson, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
so the electric version.
Me and horns and electric don't go together so good.
But you know, it's the Chics gathering to do. Yet
But I've
another.
heard the Chambers, that group. I've heard a live performance that Jeffrey gave at McCabe's, and it's great. I mean, he does Jelly Roll Morton song and a Blind Lemon Jeffers song. He wrote these arrangements. They're fantastic.
Wow.
They're wonderful.
Catch more fish than you. Any fish finds got good bait. Here's a little something I would like to relate. Any fish finds got good bait. I'm a going fishing, yes, I'm going fishing. I'm a going fishing too. Where you put 'em in the skillet, slap on the lid. Nancy gonna cook 'em with some shortbread bread. You said you're going fishing all the time. I'm a going fishing too. I bet your life, your love and wife, catch more fish than